On this episode, hear about new technology for precision application of irrigation and nutrients. Check out the 3 videos in the description below. Find out how the Biden administration is affecting the markets and global trade. We'll be at the Iowa Ag Expo next week at booth 850. Come check us out.
Hi, this is Joe Mershman, and welcome to Cup of Joe, episode number 26, season number 3. Today we have Tommy and Turk and Ben. Glad to have you back, Ben.
Thank you.
Let's start off with you since you weren't here last week. I don't know what happened last week, but I know you weren't here.
Yeah. To build off what you guys kind of talked about last week about Joe mentioned the drought situation and where we're in and what the weather is going to look like over the next couple of years. We have gotten a lot of snow in western Iowa, so we're rebuilding some soil moisture in some of those drought-stricken areas. But one of the big topics that the entire industry is talking about right now is this new 360 rain component. It's an irrigation tool that Greg Sauter's coming out with, and if you haven't looked into it, it's really, really interesting on how he is potentially going to change the industry from a standpoint of we will have the ability to irrigate acres that probably wouldn't have been able to irrigate in the past. So if you visualize or you imagine one of the old walking guns, a hard hose style walking gun, is the mindset or the general. It's what I think about when I first watched the video, and that kind of technology is almost obsolete because you run down corn rows and stuff. But this is a GPS electric powered RTK machine that's got 60-foot booms, and it will literally irrigate down the rows, and then it has the ability enough hose on this thing to handle a 160 acre square flat field.
It's autonomous, go 24/7.
Yep.
Puts the water, and you can add nutrients, fertilizer,
and
sulfur, and even potentially a fungicide, right?
Right. There's a new fungicide out on the market that's systemic, so it'd be able to be put in through irrigation or this new style. I guess his is irrigation too. So it's just really, really interesting how they're going to be able to take marginal acres or even your most highly productive acres. And this is where, in my mind, when water is the most limiting nutrient, this is what's one of the tools, or this style of tool is what's going to be used to get that 300 bushel acre to 400 and 500, because you're going to be able to spoon feed every nutrient that plant needs. That plant will never long for anything because it has all the nutrients, all the water, everything, even pesticides and things like that, right where you want it.
Well, what I found interesting is that it also can apply different rates of water in different sections of your cornfield just by slowing down. But we will put that video link up, and it's an hour and 13-minute video, and I know that's a long time to watch a video, but I was fascinated by it. And I understand that he's got another year testing before they get out in the field with it, but just thinking about what it can do for farmers, it might be that, I was just kidding Ben, I said, well, if you buy some farmland, you can buy the best farmland and farm less acres because you're going to get more bushels off per acre. You maybe don't need to farm as much. I mean, it could change a lot of things.
Oh, yeah, and it's just really, really interesting because he is laying that, it's kind of like a wide drop. He is laying that water right up against the corn row. So in his mind, when you're dropping 3/10 of an inch, you're really dropping 6/10 of an inch because you're not diluting the whole corn row. You're not losing as much to evapotranspiration like you would normally in a pivoted field. Mm-hmm. So where you'd normally drop 3/4 of an inch with a pivot, you have a good percentage of that, 10, 12, 15% of that's evaporating off before it even touches the ground because it's hot and humid and things of that nature. So he's got a lot of really cool ideas working, and it looks like it's going to be able to fit any size field. I mean,
yeah, he's talked to even the wells don't have to be as big,
yeah,
because you're not putting as much water on per acre. And then plus you're not shocking the corn plant with that cold water, 50-some degrees coming out of the ground.
Yep.
So you don't shut the corn plant down. You're putting it right at the base. You've got to watch this video because it will really get the wheels spinning about what it could do for your farm if you have access to water in some fashion.
Right. And there's a lot more wells out there that you can run a 250 gallon per minute pump versus what the kind of stuff that I'm used to, where we're running 1,000, 1,100 gallon per minute. You got to take a lot of water for that. If you can cut that down by a quarter, holy cow, you don't have to have all this extra water available. So very cool.
It's could be a step change for agriculture, and we'll have to watch. It's early development, and we'll let you in on it because we just heard about it this week too. So pretty exciting stuff. And they showed it working on beans too. And he's got the data. And I mean, the test plot data he's doing. These are 160 acre fields he's doing this data on. And then he's got some pictures of it where they stripped it, and they show you where they didn't put water, where they did put water. And this past year, as you know, water was a limiting factor in August in a lot of farms.
Yep.
Pretty exciting stuff.
Absolutely.
And speaking of exciting stuff, Turk, these markets, holy cow. Do you think those kids in TikTok, like GameStop, have run the markets up like they did with
I'm sure
GameStop?
that's probably what it is, Joe.
That could be. I don't know. But unfortunately, we are on TikTok. But I was talking to our marketing people, and they said we didn't get the word about that stock. So we missed it.
The export sales this week, Joe, it was interesting. This export sales report come out this week, and it shows that China's buying ethanol, corn, soybeans, pork, beef, along with several other countries that are coming to the market as the U.S. has supplies of all of these things. Yet supplies are getting thin, but it's definitely going to be interesting as we move forward here. That the Biden administration, China got the word that the Biden administration was not going to give them a get out of jail free card. And so they're going to have to live up to their commitments that they have made in our trade agreements, and there will probably be some more negotiations with the new negotiator on this.
And we understand that she's more of a litigator than a trade person. So the probably the only trade agreement we're going to get in the Biden administration is Great Britain, because it's about 90% baked. And the rest of the time, she's going to spend her time making sure that the Trump ones are adhered to.
Adhered to. That's correct. And so they've got that message loud and clear, I think. And so they're definitely it seems like there's been a shift in their change of their attitude a little bit about living up to their agreements that they've got. They know that they're going to be held to them, and not just saying, "Oh, we don't have to worry about it now." But so I think that's kind of getting into the markets again. Supplies are short. I mean. I heard a report this week that the U.S. may import some soybeans just to keep a pipeline full come the end of this season before our new crop soybeans get here. So it's going to be an interesting, more volatility in the marketplace. Don't expect this to go away anytime soon. Wild rides, highs and lows within the trading week or even within the trading day. So.
I saw Successful Farming had an article this week said it's $6 corn, $16 beans possible, and they talked about this scenario that could make it possible. The big thing right now is that we're going to be the only game in town here for a while. I know the Brazil crop, as you said, they know how big it is. Now they're going to try to get as many acres planted in the U.S. as possible to get that supply back. So mom might not even get a planter garden this year. We got to plant the corn and soybeans because we need the land. So how many acres are we going to plant, and what's the weather going to be this summer? That's going to determine if we're going to go to 6 or 16. And if we have a dry year, those numbers are possible.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we're not going to know that for a while yet. And so that's going to be the key, is what is the weather going to do between now and middle of June.
Yep, and this thing's changing all the time. That's why I know all the farmers out there all have a grain advisor. You need to have them on speed dial right now.
That's right.
And keep track of what's going on every day and how this thing's changing, because a market change of $1 used to be, oh my, that was a catastrophe. Now it's just a small correction as high as we are.
Yeah, and they've actually increased the margin calls on all these commodities now to keep the weak of heart out of these markets, because it is definitely no place for somebody that doesn't have experience in what they're doing here, for sure.
We're looking at some potentially positive things. It's just that this volatility, if you're on the wrong side of it, can kill you.
Mm-hmm. So another interesting thing I heard this week, Joe, is there's a rumor that the plaintiffs that filed, that got the Ninth Circuit Court judges to vacate the dicamba registrations. Those plaintiffs are going back to those same judges and asking them to vacate the new registration that EPA just come out with for dicamba, and saying that they have violated their orders to vacate with this new registration, and they're asking them to take a look at that and possibly asking them to vacate, or having them consider vacating the new registration as well. And so stay tuned on that one, because that's a whole different ballgame than not having to go through the court system, go back to the same court, the same judges, and say, they didn't do what you say you told them to do. Now vacate this as well. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But
that reminds me of the old saying: is there's more than one way to skin a cat. Mm-hmm. So basically, this is, they got, like you say, the court case going through Nevada and then and Arizona. I'm sorry, and then this way going back to square one. So this is
a shortcut.
This is a shortcut. So we'll keep our ear to the ground and see if that's actually going to become a reality.
Yeah.
Tommy, I see you got an eye chart there. What's going on?
Not quite an eye chart, Joe, but
hold that up.
This is a QR code, and so what we're going to do is with this QR code here. Alex, is that good? Okay. So with this QR code here, we're going to have you can open your camera on your smartphone, and at the booth 850 that will be at the the Iowa Ag Expo next week. You'll be able to scan it with your picture app, your camera app, and it'll have a little welcome video from this group here, and it'll have a little section where you can add your name, address, number, whatever your details are, and it puts you into a drawing that we'll be giving away one every day, because we'll be up there 3 days, and it's going to be a merchandise box. So there's a little something for everybody in the box. It's about a $200 value, so it's worth it to stop over at our booth. Again, we'll be at booth 850, and that's right inside Hy-Vee Hall when you come from Wells Fargo Arena. So those dates are February 2nd through the 4th, and the show runs from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday it'll be over at 3 p.m. So come find us, booth 850. You can use our QR code, get entered into a drawing, and I'll be up there. Ben and I will be up there on Tuesday. We'll have more people up there on Wednesday and Thursday as well. So stop by, come see us, log in to get a chance to win a prize, and ask us whatever questions you may have for us. So.
Yeah, I think the whole show this year is really trying to go touchless.
Yep.
And trying to be sympathetic to the COVID-19 thing, yes, and trying to do it as safe as possible. And so obviously this is one way that you can register without having to touch a pen or a pencil or a piece of paper. So they've encouraged all the folks that are going to be there to not to physically get in any contact with each other.
That's just so everybody can feel comfortable. Get out of the house, come feel safe, and see some of your agriculture friends that we haven't seen in a while. And we're doing our part to be safe. So I think it would be something to come out and see. So,
well, let's hope the weather's good next week, right?
It's usually the other kicker for this show.
So. All right. It's always a snowstorm one of the days.
One of the days, yep.
Anyhow, that's very good. A lot of good information today. I would like to finish up with the corny jokes, and I got two of them this week. This one's a riddle, okay? What has ears but can't hear? What has ears but can't hear? A cornfield, okay? Now, this one here I brought from home, okay? After supper last night, my wife asked if I could clear the table. I needed a running start, but I made it. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Please be safe. I hope your family's healthy. And again, thank you for your support of Merchman Seeds. Take care.